Oh, so how you doing with the post-Christmas?
It was a lovely day. I've got a good cup of coffee. I was up writing until like 1 o'clock in the morning, which is really fucking fun for me because I got to create some stuff until late and didn't have to really worry about it. My kid is still asleep in the other room because he is 15. And it was really nice though. The dog is currently playing with all of his new toys at once. And how was yours?
Yeah, it was all right. It was I was sort of wiped out, but we had a pretty good morning and a pretty good day. We had friends over.
Oh.
And did the old pozole thing that we normally do on Christmas.
Hell yeah.
Had a little lasagna for Christmas Eve and some Die Hard.
Oh, hell yeah. That sounds wonderful.
Mark safe at Nakatomi Plaza.
Ah, yeah. Mark safe.
So that was fine. And we did. Got some cool gifts. It's so funny. I got a set of binoculars. Yeah,
you're immediately rear windowing. Like
I know. But I am totally Mrs. Kravitz. Like on my balcony, I'm like, if I hear something outside, I'm like, what the hell was that? I'll go out and look down the alley. But where I live, there is a lot to see. And so that's kind of cool.
Very nice.
Although the new binoculars have this cool little thing on them where you have like a stand and you can put the binoculars on the stand and then an iPhone stand behind it. So the iPhone can be through the binoculars to take pictures that are like further away and far away.
Oh my God.
Not for that, but like for like stars and moons and stuff. I don't think it's supposed to go through windows. I don't know. I haven't used it that way yet.
Not yet.
That's right.
My son has a telescope. He has a couple of telescopes, and one of them has a similar and a phone attachment for him to get photos of the stars and the moon and such. And I do have to consistently have that conversation of, hey, don't fucking point this at anybody's house. Not that he would, I believe.
But isn't it on them if they have their curtains open?
No.
No? Okay.
No, I'm going to choose to put the responsibility on the person with the stuff. I'm not saying that person's not responsible for themselves. I'm just saying that like I'm going to have him choose to be responsible for himself by making correct decisions as much as possible.
But that may be like their kink is that their windows are open.
Uh-huh.
And so like you're depriving, Welcome to 2 Shots and a Royalty Check, brought to you by Venmo, Your Money, Your Move, and Liquid Death, Murder Your Thirst. Let's get back into it.
I'm depriving them.
By
completion.
like making your son so puritanical that he wouldn't look in.
You deprived me of completion. How dare you?
Maybe we raise our children different.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Just not to kink shame anybody. That sounds nice. Let's do that.
That's right. Yeah, we want to be positive, right? We want to be body positive.
Body positive, yeah.
And kink positive.
Yeah,
and
totally.
I guess.
How dare you?
Well, I always find it funny. I've said this before, but one of the funniest things I ever see is when homeless, unhoused people are having sex in the alley.
This is why you got the binoculars for Christmas.
Well, I just want to make sure they're okay and they're warm, and that it's consensual.
Go down and just drop a couple of Durex right next to like, here you go, buddy.
But I know that I've had that conversation with some people, and they're like, "Oh my God, dude, that's so gross." I'm like,
"Why?
Why? What a moment of happiness."
Yeah.
Now I assume they're probably not being safe, but
yeah, there is that.
Yeah, probably. But I mean, condoms are free everywhere.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you can get them at King Soopers, Planned Parenthood, wherever you want.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's true anymore.
I think you can still get them at Planned Parenthood for free. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
We didn't defund that yet. Fucking idiots.
Yeah, where they have like a bowl of condoms, like a dentist used to have bowls of like dum-dums.
Of sugar, so you'll be back.
That's right. You'll be back. Plan your family.
You and your family.
Well, we're off to a great start.
Homeless sex, kink shaming.
Peeping Toms. Yep.
Happy New Year, motherfuckers.
Merry Christmas, everybody. Yes, it's the holiday season.
Welcome to the holiday taint. That fleshy fun bridge between Christmas and New Year's.
We did our fun card games and
got
a little messy last night.
Yeah.
But we called it early.
Mostly
because of me.
Like, get the fuck off my lawn.
I'm just so done. Yeah. So done.
Yeah, I get it.
Like I woke up on Christmas Eve morning to like our building's door was broken.
Oh God.
Because some douchebags moved couches through the front door and like overextended it, and it was just like one thing after another. And I can say this because there's no chance she's listening to this, but a neighbor of mine, she was like, "Oh, look at you. You're fixing the door. Like, look at that. Look at what a man going to work today." And I was like, yeah, it's always something. Kind of doing that sort of thing. And then she said, she said this before, but she goes, "You must have done something horrible in your past life." Right? The first time she said it, I was like, ha, 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 and I just laughed. This was like months and months ago. Oh, my God. And then she said it again that morning, and I was like, you know what? The last time you said that, I took offense to it and was pretty hurt by it then, too. So have a great morning. Yeah. And so then she, like, wanted to make up for it and comes, like, hits me by the elevator, and she's like, "I made you guys cookies and fudge."
Yeah. There's cyanide in it.
Yeah, totally.
Jesus.
But what a horrible fucking thing to say to somebody. You must have done so horrible in your past life.
You're out here picking up dog shit. You must have been must have been fucking Vlad the Impaler. How dare you? Jesus.
Yeah. It was just I just thought to myself, I was like, well, we can get somebody to fix the front door or whatever, but it's Christmas Eve. It's a Sunday. Yeah. It's going to be triple the price if we can get anyone out here. All that sort of thing. So I was like, I'll just fix it.
Yeah.
And just got out the old drill.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then realized that the people that fixed it the last time did it wrong. And so I was being that guy, like, they did it wrong. They drilled into the metal without using rivets. And I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. But it was one of those. I was like, oh, what a great beginning.
And that's why you did that at 10 a.m. and then by 10:45 we're ankle deep in bourbon.
Yeah.
From a bourbon paddling pool.
Yeah, and it was one of those nights where I took NyQuil just to make sure I slept. Like, I don't feel sick, but I took NyQuil to, like, knock me out.
Have you tried the ZQuil stuff that doesn't have the cough and cold medicine in it?
I have a bottle of it.
Yes.
But, like, it's for, like, getting to sleep.
Yeah, it's not great at keeping you asleep.
Yeah, and that's what I need. I need to be knocked out.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know of anything that does that.
Well, heroin, but I can't really do that anymore.
Then you're constipated.
Yeah. That's the problem. Is that all the options? Like my uncle years and years ago, he was on Dilaudid.
Oh, God!
And I'm not sure. And I mean, like daily Dilaudid. He had. We called them his lollipops. He had these lollipops. You just break them open. It was like it was like 100 milligrams.
Oh my God!
And he would just sit there and he had chronic pain. He had like shingles stage 9. He had like a pain pump in his back. It was horrible. So he was in pain constantly. Yeah. Like real pain.
Real actual pain.
And so I would go down to his house and we'd play guitar because he was a guitarist and he would pop open his lollipop and we'd
and then
get
he was
into,
off.
like playing. Oh my God. Yeah, we'd get into playing like, While My Guitar Gently Weeps, or, he would love to play Riders on the Storm, these kind of songs.
Great choices.
And he would just, so it was like, dun, 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 and then suddenly one guitar would just drop out, and he would just, I was like, it's just me playing. But his mind was so quick still.
Yeah.
He wasn't, like, drug-addled.
Yeah. And
so, like, when he popped out of it, like, he would pop out in and out.
Yeah.
He would pop out and then be like, well, he just like out of nowhere, he just starts soloing. I was like, well, okay, well, I guess we're playing again.
That's fantastic.
And it was one of those things where I'm sitting across his office, his music studio from him.
Yeah.
I got my own guitar, my own amp. He's on his.
Yeah.
And he would just sort of start fading. It's kind of like with a kid where you're like, oh, he's almost asleep.
Yeah.
So I'm going to play softer. And then gently put my guitar
Moonwalk
down
away.
and try to dun 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 dun, and try to get away from the thing, and then he would. Okay, is that a C right there? And I'd, oh my God, I grabbed the guitar and yeah, here we go.
Yeah, we're
Just,
back.
Like I wasn't leaving.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you're stuck. You're on your own.
But he told me, he was like, you want to try some of this? I was like, God, no.
Like, I see what it does to you, and I know you need it.
Yeah. Like I'm just looking to sleep a little
Yeah.
bit, like not forever. And plus, I used to take him to the airport and pick him up, and I would do like a bunch of that stuff for him because he's on like his little stroller and stuff.
Yeah.
And so I didn't understand how much drugs that is because I don't do like any pharmaceuticals.
Yeah.
Like I have no idea.
Yeah.
I was just like, I don't know. He's like, so we got to go to the pharmacy real quick before we go to the airport. And I was like, okay. So we go to the pharmacy, and he gives me like he owned like a CPA firm, so he did all right.
Yeah.
But he gives me like a Black American Express card.
Oh, fantastic.
And I'm like, what the fuck? Nice. So I get this card, I give it to the people, they give it back, and he's like, go ahead and just sign it for me. I was like, all right, and I just signed it. It was like $8,000
Congratulations.
for his prescription.
For how long? How long was that going to last him?
Like a month.
Wow.
Yeah.
Huh. We're doing something
and
wrong.
so I was like, God damn it, that's a lot. And he was like, yeah, I know. Well, the insurance doesn't cover it. I'm like, it's a fucking country. And then we go to the airport, and TSA would stop us, and I'd have to pull out, what looked like a daily journal of pharmaceutical, like of the prescriptions. And like the TSA, on multiple occasions through Texas, through California, through Denver, they didn't know how to deal with it.
Yeah.
They were just like, okay. Like they didn't know what like the rules were.
Uh-huh.
But like I realized one of the TSA people told me once, they're like, you can only have, and then they XYZ of milligrams of whatever that you can take through here legally.
Wow.
I don't remember what the numbers are again because I don't really do them.
Yeah.
He had 10 times that much on him in a fanny pack.
Oh my God. That's insane.
And they're like, well, how many? I was like, do they think you're a drug mule? Yeah, but he's like this kind of older, disheveled guy with pain and laughing at everyone because he's high.
Perfect.
But they'd beep him, and like his pain pump would go off, and I'm like, yeah, he has a pain pump in his back, and they're like, in his back?
Yeah.
I was like, well, it's on his spine. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they're like, and that's in addition to all these like Dilaudid and oxys and all the rest of the crap. I'm like, yeah. And then he would get through TSA and then pop a lollipop and be like, thank you guys for your service. And just walk away. And I'm like, it's hilarious because like if there was a 20-year-old that did that, they would absolutely arrest him. Yeah. But he was in his 60s, and I guess they were like, well,
how long?
He's got a stroller.
How long did he last after that all started? Yeah,
it started probably on his, like when he was 50-something, early 50s.
Man.
Because our band played his 50th birthday, and he like rented out this whole like hotel ballroom and got to play on stage, and it was like one of the first times he got to play with the band. So like he loved our band. Yeah. It was great. And then it was like a year after that, they just started going down, and it turned out he had shingles, but he had like the 0.01% of people that have shingles go into this massive spiral. And then they do surgeries and they do all this stuff to try to fix you. Yeah. And then that gets worse. And then that gets worse. Mm-hmm. And so he was probably in like about, I don't know, probably 14, 15 years of that kind of pain. Oh, my goodness. That is... Yeah, and the last year we were trying to get him into Boston University's like medical program because they had like an experimental thing they were going to do. But the problem is that they needed him to fly out there, and I was like, he
ain't going anywhere.
That's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Aww. So again, Merry Christmas, everyone. Sorry about this.
Speaking of Merry Christmas,
but no, I didn't do Dilaudid to go to bed.
Oh, fantastic! Speaking of Merry Christmas, can we talk about the race to number one in the UK?
The official number one in the UK. Official number one. Yeah. Yep. I actually listened to it.
Oh, what time of day was that? Like 10 o'clock in the morning or something like that?
Yeah, well, it's here. It was 10 or 11.
Yeah.
And there, I think it's a 4 or 5
Yeah.
in the day or something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's on BBC One.
Oh, very nice.
I believe.
Very nice.
I don't remember which one it was
Radio
on. It's on a BBC
One.
radio station. Yeah, and it was totally just all the imaging. I was like, it's been so long since I've listened to radio.
Oh my gosh.
And listening to like UK radio is still very UK radio is still very
Very radio-y.
very radio-y. Yeah. It was like, we're counting down the top 40. Here we go. And who's it going to be? Andy Williams, Kelly Clarkson,
Andy Williams.
Mariah Carey, Ed Sheeran, so many to get to. Let's go. Number 1. And it's like imaging everywhere. Like, it was great.
Yeah.
But so the ones that were, for those of you who don't remember, it's been a few weeks since we were talking about this. But there were a few kind of things in the lead for this official number 1. Last Christmas from Wham has never won.
Yes.
And it's all that George Michael ever wanted. Of course, George Michael has passed, but Andrew Ridgeley is still alive.
Yes.
But this year, there's been a few ones that were being pushed.
Yeah.
The Pogues,
Yeah.
Fairy Tale of New York, featuring Christy McCall.
What?
I know. Not McNichol.
I know.
When I looked down at it, I was like, Christy McNichol's in a song? But anyway.
Yeah.
And then Sam Ryder was another one. Of course, we love Sam.
Yes.
He has a song called Your Christmas to Me, and he was pushing this hard.
Oh, yeah.
For people who don't know what this is,
Yeah.
they take downloads and streams and sales of real sales, physical sales, and they
Which is
compile
still a
them all
thing.
up, and whatever is number 1 at the end of that week.
Yeah.
Before Christmas that's what becomes the official Christmas time number
Yay.
1 song. And this is for a single,
Yeah.
right? Like the album, by the way, was Hackney Diamonds.
Oh, the Stones.
From Rolling Stones.
Hell yes.
Yeah.
Ah.
So 60 fucking years the Stones have been doing it.
Yeah.
And they get this number 1
Fuck
album.
yeah.
That's
That's
pretty
badass.
good. But so just so you know, this is one of those things where all of these bands, management, label, whatever you want to call it, they really, really promote it.
Yeah.
Like, they don't just put it out and think, oh, well, I hope the fans like it. Like, they actively are on social media trying to get people to buy it, to download it. People in Britain know that this is a thing, and so, like, they are downloading music. They're buying music.
Yeah.
They're setting streams to loop. Like, you get behind who you're behind.
Yeah.
It's a whole thing. I wish we fucking did this in the U.S.
Yeah.
I really
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
Because they're not all Christmas songs.
Yeah.
Like Stick Season from Noah Kahan.
Yeah.
Lovin' on Me from Jack Harlow is in the top 10. But there are obviously a lot of Christmas songs
Yeah.
because, it's the last week before
Yeah,
Christmas.
exactly.
So it got down to the top 6, and the Pogues were out because they were number 6.
Yeah.
We were like, oh, okay,
All
so
right.
it's not the Pogues. And then Merry Christmas, Ed Sheeran and Elton John. That was number 5. Then Noah Kahan with Stick Season. And then All I Want for Christmas Is You for Mariah Carey. Big fucking surprise at number 3. All right.
Who's that by?
I know. Who is she? By the way, the over-under on that's 300 million streams for the year. So I'm taking the over.
Yeah, okay.
But it's so, by the way, it's so funny because her song is on the charts for 130 weeks.
Jeez.
I don't know if you know how many weeks are in a year.
Yeah.
But it's been on the charts for 130 weeks.
That's over 2 years.
Yeah. By the way, Fairy Tale of New York's been on there for 125. I am not familiar with that song.
Really?
When I heard it, I was like, oh, yeah, the Pogues.
Yeah.
But, dude from the Pogues died this year.
Yeah, that
so-
makes sense. Yeah, but I didn't know it'd been on the. That's a long time. Be on there.
Yeah, that's one of those songs that doesn't really reach me.
Yeah.
But so, as you know, we're in Whamageddon time. We were in Whamageddon where you can't hear Last Christmas or you're out.
Yeah.
You were out.
That's why it
2
doesn't
weeks
happen in
ago,
the US.
3 weeks ago. Yeah. And but I knew this is like Friday, right?
Yeah.
This is like the day. This is before Christmas, and so I'm like, oh my god, I'm about to get Whamageddon here.
Yeah.
I might.
Yeah.
Like I got to be really careful about when I turn this shit off.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like if the DJ is going to hit me with it out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Well, here's how they did it.
Uh-huh.
So they get to number 2 and they're like, they've got Sam Ryder on the phone. And they're like, so the number 2 song is
First loser.
And it's Sam Ryder. Sam, talk to us about it. And he's like, oh, and he went and he was like, I'm so happy for them, and blah blah blah. But then Andrew Ridgeley was on the phone too. I think he was actually, they had him remote too.
Yeah.
But he was like, George would have loved this, and blah blah blah.
Oh, I love it.
So when they played Sam Ryder, I knew Wham had won number one,
and I just turned it off.
Didn't have to hear. So fuck you, Food Bank of the Rockies. You don't get my $100 this year. No, I'm just kidding. I give it anyway.
I already sent my money the first week of December.
Yeah, totally.
I was out in a Nordstrom. I think I told you.
Yeah. Somebody else was. TD was like at a Lexus dealer when his car broke down. He was like, "Oh, I got screwed twice."
He's at the December to Remember event, and he, got fucked. Okay, well,
I told him you should have been celebrating Toyota Fun with me.
Oh, you don't have a car.
No, but I do celebrate Toyota Fun.
It's my favorite holiday.
It's like being Jewish. I'm Toyota-ish.
Adjacent. Toyota.
That's right.
Congratulations to Wham.
Celebrate
for
congratulations to Wham, to Andrew Ridgeley.
Yeah. We did,
and to all the people finding out about this for the first time ever.
And I think it's interesting that the reason they didn't get number one back when the song was first released was because George was also on "Do They Know It's Christmas?"
That's right,
and that was the number one song that year. And he was like, probably out in a rainstorm, shaking his fist at the sky, curses. And now
he was pissed.
Did you see the photo of Andrew Ridgeley holding the Radio One?
Yes,
thing?
He looks lovely.
He looks lovely. He looks like he's having a lovely time. And I'm like, yes. Please. And he's not Simon Le Bon on a yacht, but he looks like he's quite happy, and I'm happy to see that.
Yeah. So I think it's really good, and I mean, I think this is all for us to feel better.
Yeah.
The whole thing where it's like, oh, George would have loved this. Yeah, George is dead. He would have loved it while he was alive.
Yeah, I mean,
this goes to my whole thing about happy birthday in heaven, happy heavenly birthday. I don't once you're out, you're out. Leave these people alone. They're busy, whatever they're doing, whether you believe it's in heaven or hell or in the universe or whatever. Like, oh my God, it just pisses me off so much. Oh, like George Michael is up in heaven or in purgatory somewhere and being like, finally. It's such bullshit. God, I hate that shit. Sorry.
Happy heavenly birthday.
Merry Christmas again. Michael bringing you down.
Happy heavenly birthday. I'm not dead yet. That kind of
I'm not dead yet.
I will be soon. I don't want to go on the cart.
Happy heavenly birthday. I'm 142. Stop calling my name.
I'm trying to remember the short story, but it's in a book called Some by David Eagleman, where they talk about how you're in a waiting room in purgatory, or what is that space? But while you're waiting to go wherever you're going, and the last time your name is spoken on Earth, that's when you can get on the train and go where you're going. And there's some famous ass motherfuckers that are sitting in this way station just waiting. They're like, please stop playing my last concerto. I would like to move on now. And
that's what I told someone that wished a happy heavenly birthday. I was like, you just locked him in for another year.
Yeah. How dare you?
Yeah. And they're sitting there going, no, please, 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 please. Oh, damn it.
I just want to move on.
I just want to go to hell and party with AC/DC.
Yeah.
I just want to go. My table's ready with Bon Scott.
My table's ready.
I have a table on the corner. Yes. Oh, Mr. St. James, we've been expecting you.
I'm of the opinion that that hell does not exist, because if that is the case, I think that if you're a shitty person on this planet, you go nowhere. We do not recycle you. But
I wish it was. Because some of these people, I would like them to go.
But there's also this piece of me that's like, if you believe in God, you cannot believe that He would ultimately damn your soul to eternal pain, fire, and hell.
Just because you didn't say the magic words.
So yeah, exactly. You didn't say the spell right. But we're all afraid of witches, right?
That's right.
Oh, God.
Oh, you didn't turn around. You didn't finish the salt circle.
Totally
eternity and brimstone
I dipped
and fire
a tortilla chip in the salt circle. That was one of the fucking problems.
A tortilla chip in a rimmed glass. It's great. It's fantastic.
Rimmed glass. That was my salt circle.
Are going to hell.
Yeah, I know. Salt circle.
That's my thing. I do not want to go to heaven as it's described.
Yeah, it sounds fucking boring, doesn't it?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I've had this conversation with some very strong Christians, and by the way, I will always say my belief is I hope you go to whatever paradise you believe in. That's my thing. I don't. If there is a God, I've seen no evidence of it, but if there is a God, I don't want to go there.
Yeah.
The shit that person has done, get the fuck out of here. I don't want to be there. And I don't want to deal with the boss's son, with Jesus. Like he's going to be untenable.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And the thing is like for so many Christians, it's like your day is spent, like really good, pious Christians, reading the daily word and the daily bread in the morning, praying at lunch, reading your Bible, going to church, blah, blah, blah. You don't need to do any of that in heaven. What are you going to do?
What are you going to spend
like, what does your fucking Sunday look like in heaven? And be like, well, this is kind of a letdown. We don't go to church. Like, he's right there.
He's right there.
I don't need to pray.
So I have a series of questions, Lord.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. I think like one.
Totally.
I
wrote something this year.
Oh.
Okay.
What did you write this year?
There's no Christmas in heaven.
Ooh. Boo.
Okay. There's no snow. There's no reason for a Christmas. You can't put up a Christmas tree. Here's the thing. My favorite time of year is Christmas. It has nothing to do with the religiosity of it. I love the Christmas timey stuff. I like the lights and the blah, blah, blah. I've been over this, right?
Yeah.
But it struck me, there is no Christmas in heaven. So you go to heaven, that's it.
Yeah.
You've had your last Christmas. Your favorite time of year, the winter, the sweaters, the presents, the gifts, the fucking, making some hot chocolate, being cold, being with your loved ones.
Yeah.
A treat. You'll never get that again. Never, ever, ever, ever.
Unless
ever.
that's the heaven you decide to build.
No, I've seen what heaven's supposed to be like. I mean, there's trees.
You don't know the answer to this
tree
question.
Of life and all that. It's not snowing in heaven because half of the people are going to heaven.
Sometimes it snows
older.
in April.
No, they're older, and so the thermostat's on 78, dude. That's the other thing.
Wait a minute.
The thermostat,
Isn't
like,
it
no
supposed
one
to be
wants
hot
to
south?
cold heaven.
I'm so confused.
I want 65, 68, something like that, right?
69.
But all those guys, they're all on 78, and they're still like a little chilly outside, isn't it?
Yeah, a little brisk. I'm gonna get a sweater. This is devolved into something quite entertaining.
Oh my goodness, I am so sorry. So Wham wins the official number one.
I'm sorry. Merry Christmas.
George, if you're in heaven, I hope it's nice and cool and beachy where you are.
Did you? I still think that his performance at the Freddie Mercury tribute concert was the finest of the evening.
Yes.
His cover, his version of Somebody to Love is... no, they didn't do that. He did Somebody to Love at the Freddie Mercury tribute concert.
Oh.
Yeah, Don't Let the Sun was with Elton John.
I still think that's the Elton John thing. Yeah, that's not the same concert.
No, it's not the same way. But Elton was there, and he did sing... I think he sang Show Must Go On. And it was fine. That is not in Elton's range at all. But like George Michael sang "Somebody to Love," and you can find the record. You can find the video on the YouTubes. Fuck yeah, what a badass! You know,
just such a badass.
Yeah.
Like so good. Like. And like, again, if you haven't seen the documentary, go watch the Wham documentary on Netflix because it shows you that this was never a slam dunk. Mm-hmm. That George Michael built himself into a pop star.
Yeah.
He was always talented, but he was not originally a great writer. Mm-hmm. Andrew was.
Yeah.
He built himself into a better writer, into a better producer. And then ultimately, as so often happens, a lot of like kids that come up sort of gawky.
Yeah.
And then they suddenly find themselves in their early 20s and they're like, am I hot? I think I'm hot. Like everyone wants to fuck me. I think I might be hot.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, you're totally hot. You're a piece, man.
And then there's men like you and I who carry that mantle into our 40s.
Yes. Funny guy.
Oh, he's really funny.
Oh, he's really
must
funny.
be a great
he's hilarious
lover
to hang out with.
Yeah.
He's hilarious. I love to hang out with him. All right, let's move on a little bit.
Yeah.
Do you have New Year's resolutions for next week?
No.
Do you believe in resolutions? Do you like resolutions?
Okay, so this all stems from my place of selfishness, which is I don't believe in waiting until that moment in time. If there's something I want to change, I'm going to change it right fucking now.
Nothing magical about the calendar changing.
I mean, it's
that
always
was created by
it's
religion.
It's a nice feeling of reset, like a feeling of hope, and I do love that. But as far as like resolutions go, no. I mean, from a financial standpoint, it's like, okay, finished off Q4, moving into Q1. What do we get? What is our goal this year? So I put that voice on because that's how money sounds.
Yeah.
But like it's a great reset for me to it's a good starting point for me to do all this. But as far as resolutions go, no. If there's something I don't like, I just don't do it anymore.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm sort of feeling a reinvention coming on next year.
Oh.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
We'll see.
Do you want to say more about that?
Well, no, it just I'm like, I'm moving into that new media space, and I am going to have the time to do the things that I've been meaning to do for years.
Yeah.
So here's hoping.
Well,
and so a lot of songs, a lot of music, a lot of books.
Ooh,
I have like 4 books, like almost done. Like almost done, but like it's gonna take a month or 2 on each of them to like sort of finish.
Yeah.
Edit, finish, like all of that. But like almost, like I have a whole lot of shit that's like almost done and has been for a while. And so I'm hoping that having that dedicated space is going to finish that up. Plus the catalog stuff, new music stuff.
Yeah.
I'm really excited to get back into more sync for me, than for other people.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's there's something more special about hearing no when it's your song.
Yeah. Yeah.
Than someone else's song.
I have a query about your writing, if I may. When you write, do you write and edit yourself at the same time, or are you a stream you just blast it out and you edit it later?
I do. It depends on the form.
Okay.
So, like in essays, I write. So, like in novelization or short stories, if I'm doing that kind of thing, then I blow out like story points. I go as far as I can on the story point until I know it's boring me. Like you kind of, as a writer, you kind of know when you're like overwriting it. You're like, wait a minute, I'm just writing to write here.
Yeah.
Like because normally, like if I do something for a performer, if I write like something that has like a word count, so it's 1,000 words,
Gotcha.
2,000 words. Then I am constantly editing because I'm used to it.
Yeah.
So I write that way, editing as I'm writing, just like I do in songwriting.
Yeah.
Like you can't overwrite that first verse if you're trying to hit rhythm points and like if you're trying to rhyme things, you're going to be hitting on the end of it. So you can't write a longer line, right?
Yeah, totally.
So it's kind of the same thing when you have a word count. When you're like, I kind of know I'm in the second act of this. I've already set it up. I know how long the second act should last.
Yeah.
It's like, how long do I have to dismount, nail the dismount?
Yeah.
So I just look at everything in 3 acts, basically.
Yeah.
It's like the setup, the meat of it, and then the dismount. And then, so if I get towards the end of it and I know, so it's the same thing with an essay.
Yeah.
And some of these books are books of essays. So it's basically, Michael ranting on video games or, whatever it is. There are certain things, it's like a topic.
Yeah.
And then I throw like why I'm talking about this and why this thing interests me and then my insight into it and then what I've learned from that and what you may learn, that sort of thing. And so I edit as I'm going in that, but I can always tell by the end if I'm like, oh, I'm rushing the dismount here. Like, I can kind of tell I only have 2 paragraphs to wrap this up.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, oh, maybe I need to pull back a little bit. Now, when I'm doing screenplay writing or script stuff, I am editing per line.
Wow.
So, like, every time, if it doesn't feel like that's something that was said for real, talked about, like, if that's not a real voice, and that just comes with, like, knowing the characters that you're writing, then I cut it. I cut it immediately, and I just make that person stop talking.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, because otherwise you're just then you're writing in your own voice, putting words in someone else's mouth. But like if you really can start getting into that flow of like a conversation between two people, and it feels like a real, like things that real people say in real life or in that world, whatever that world is. That's when I can edit per line, absolutely per line. And then when you get into like setup, like action description in screenplay writing, that's where you really need to edit, because you want to be like, exterior, night, it's cold and windy, there's fog. No, you don't need any of that shit. It's a foggy night. Yeah. Like you don't need any of the other shit.
The other shit can fuck off.
Yeah, they'll know it's cold because someone has a coat on. Like, and some of that shit comes to like knowing that you're writing that's gonna be changed, and a director's gonna change it, and often whatever the thing is, like whoever's producing it, they may change that, and there's no reason for you to get into that much description.
I love it. I appreciate that. I was just curious.
What about you? So like when you're writing, like when you do journal writing. Do you like edit yourself when you're journaling?
No.
Because I do.
I do not. I'm of the Nikki Sixx mindset when it comes to that kind of stuff, which is if you've read, I think he talks about it in the Heroin Diaries when he talks about writing, how it's just like stream of consciousness, no punctuation, fuck your couch. This is just good. This is going to be garbage to somebody else who reads it. It's not going to make any sense to them, but it has to get out. And that's the whole point, is you get it out and then you fix it later if you want to use it. But I'm a big fan of the 10-minute free write for a variety of, especially for creative purposes, like just the idea of like, here's a 10-minute timer, write. I don't give a shit. You can write about what an asshole I am for making you write for 10 minutes. I don't care. And then when the timer goes off, you stop in the middle of the word, that you don't punctuate, you stop. And then you put it away. And then what you've done is you've turned on that part of your brain that's continuing to write while you're walking around in the world that is. And so like there's that piece of, writing. And then there's when I'm journaling, if I'm journaling to express something like, okay, I've had a hell of a week. I usually don't put time limits on that. It's like I write until I'm done writing. But I also, like if I'm writing, I've got kids' books I'm working on. I've got, my own, ideas on things that I want to put out at some point in time. And with that, I have to set boundaries around it based on the content, not based on time, but based on, like, again, the same thing is like, oh, I'm just kind of twirling in a circle and I'm not getting my point across. I'm going to have to work this later. I'm out of juice when it comes to this, Yeah. So it's just like learning to recognize when you're in and when you're out. And you do the hokey pokey and shake it all about.
I got to a point where I edit when I'm writing in my head. Like I start, like if I'm thinking of a lyric, or thinking of even a concept of something, I will absolutely start editing it in my head without saying it, without writing it. So I'll just keep going through it and be like, nope, don't like that part. Nope, don't like. Oh yeah, there you go. Follow on that. There's 5 lines there. Yeah. I need one more. Like, I will go through that process. When I'm writing in physical form, I've really gotten to the point of, like, Derek Sivers kind of stuff where I want to write as brief as possible.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
No fat on that joke at all. Yeah. Like, I want it to be as brief as possible, even though I know there's flowery language and that stuff, there's a place for it. Yeah. But, like, for whatever reason, I got to the point in my writing where I want to see if I can write it as just like, if it's still interesting and creative and artistic. So it's not just bare bones. It's not just one sentence after another, but it's all of those things without any flourish.
Yeah. Can I still get my point across?
Yeah. But like, can you write so succinctly and still be interesting and insightful? Yeah. That's difficult.
Yeah, that's a difficult one.
Because you always want to set up, and then you want to like someone explain what you just said, and it's like, okay, what if you didn't have to set it up? Yeah. What if you didn't have to explain it and you just let it lie there? Yeah. Like, how can you write that line? That, it's that kind of thing. Yeah. And it's a great songwriting exercise too. Where you're trying to tell a story and like how much of the preamble of the story do you need?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then how much do you need to like wrap it up in the bridge? Can you make it quicker?
Yeah.
But like for us, I think for me in songwriting at least, like I do allow myself sometimes to like, I don't give a fuck. I want to write those 2 lines because I think it's fun.
Because I think those lines are cool.
I want to make a fun line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm all about, I just did a little songwriting workshop with a studio client over the weekend. But prior to the celebrating of the birth of our Savior and Lord Jesus Christ, or the winter solstice, whichever one you wish to co-opt. Did you just throw up a little? Did you hit the cough button?
It's okay.
But the what was going on is I got handed
Take a sip of holy water.
Yeah. Oh, it burns. By holy water we mean tequila. It burns so good, so good.
Cabo Wabo. We'll take new clients, Cabo Wabo next year.
Sure will. Venmo, your money, your way. The idea was like I got the lyrics and I looked at it and I was like, these are all words that make some sense. I understand the point they're making, but there was no sensory language. I couldn't get a feeling about what this person was saying, and like it's just something that this songwriter in particular had never had said to them. Like, can you tell me how this feels? Because I'm not getting any sense of feeling. And they're sitting right beside me, so I can see them. That's why I bring it up. How does this feel? Like how does it smell? How does it taste? How does it look? How does it sound? And let's fuck that up a bit. Let's go. How does the color sound? Like let's fucking mix some sensory shit up and just like go with that way, and then edit it afterwards. I'm a very big fan of not utilizing brain power to hold on to things I can write down.
Okay.
I don't like to, if I can get it out in front of me on a page and then I don't have to commit any synaptic power to holding on to that information and storing it anymore, it's way easier for me to actually work on it because I can see it and I'm not using the same power up. I'm not using any power up top to hold on to, the words and the verbiage and all that kind of stuff. I can actually look at it and go, oh, I don't have to utilize all of that extra power to hold on to things when I can just utilize that for, creativity.
Huh.
I'm all about economy.
Is interesting. Yeah, that is interesting. I love challenging myself the opposite way of writing a song in pen.
Oh, like the New York Times crossword?
So you better have that line right before you write it down.
No. Rewrite it.
Me, like if I get what that is, if I get what those 2 lines are going to say or what that verse is going to say, I will sit there and like work it out before I actually put it to paper. That doesn't mean I won't go back in and change a little bit or whatever and cross one part out or go like, that didn't nail it right there.
It didn't stick.
But like I like that exercise too of like it doesn't go on paper until it's like pretty much done.
Yeah.
But then I edit it.
Oh.
Like, I think it's important for everyone to understand that there's always more editing.
Yeah. I love the idea of challenging your habits. That's really what this comes down to is like, instead of it being just a thing that you're like, it's just the way I am, that is a path to boringness. And it's stagnation. The question all of your habits and your practices. Make sure that you're doing them because you actually believe that that's the correct path, not just because it's something you fucking do because it's a habit. So, like, I love this
also
idea.
Because you need to work with your brain, right? Like, your brain is asking to do it a different way.
Yeah.
And if you're forcing it a certain way because that's the way you've always done it, you won't be able to work and partner with your brain to unlock that like special place where it's like, no. If we do it this way, I think we may be able to get some greatness here. You're like, no. This is the way we've always done it.
You used the magic word there, greatness. I love that idea. I love that idea. Because we all have the capacity for it.
That's right. Speaking of greatness, let's get to a little bit of the question. So here's nobody. We're not answering emails, but I did have a question.
The email is you're getting a do not disturb response.
I'm just going to be like Twitter turned when they did to X, and they just started responding to every PR person with a poop emoji. Oh,
jeez,
assholes. Yeah,
oh
because they're like, your press is stupid. Okay. $22 billion later. Okay. But anyway, so somebody asked, what the hell is this whole Hall and Oates thing about?
Oh, the
Are
lawsuit?
you following this? Where there was a
was it cease and desist?
where Daryl Hall had filed a restraining order.
Oh, that's what
against
it
John
was.
Oates.
Yeah.
Everybody's like, did they get into a fight?
No, they didn't.
Basically, John Oates was trying to sell his half of their partnership to Primary Wave.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what you can do when you're a co-writer.
Mm-hmm.
And so this goes to, be careful who you co-write with.
Yeah.
You will be in partnership with them forever, for good or bad.
Yeah. You made a song, baby.
And so John kind of, he doesn't have a TV show. He doesn't have a YouTube show.
Yeah.
He's not doing all that stuff.
Yeah.
So, he still tours and stuff. But he's like, he saw an opportunity. Primary Wave made a deal to their whole partnership. Daryl Hall basically said, fuck off.
Yeah.
He will never do it. And John, I guess through intermediaries, told him that, we're going to probably do this, but it's going to be respectful.
Yeah.
And they said, fuck off, don't do that. And then John went ahead and did it.
Yeah.
And so then Daryl Hall had to come in and basically file a restraining order, which partially meant that he can't sign off on it.
Yeah.
That's partially it. A judge has ruled that, it's on hold until February.
Mm-hmm.
But basically, that's what it's about. John Oates wanted to sell his half of the rights catalog that they own in a company together.
Mm-hmm.
And no one knows what the number is. I don't know what the number is. Mm-hmm. I would imagine it's somewhere between 50 and 100 million.
Just for his half?
Yeah.
Wow. That's impressive.
I would think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. They earn well.
Yeah.
Maneater gets a lot of sync work. There's they earn they do pretty good on the earnings.
Yeah.
They're like sort of one of those, like we were saying, one of those bands that is synonymous with the 80s in a way that whenever an 80s thing comes up, that's and so they're on all those playlists, they're on all those things, but they also cross over into sort of AM gold yacht rock stuff and so
that makes sense.
But that's where that came from. And this just goes to, just make sure who you're co-writing with. You know that this can come up where any writer can sell off their part of the share.
Yeah.
This happens in hip-hop all the time where one producer out of the 5 writers will sell part of their thing. And so then when you want to do something else with the music, you have to go talk to some weird corporation who has no idea about the music.
This question, for example, we talked about Motley Crue and they had Kickstart My Heart and something, and that money is now owned by, or that publishing is now owned by, I can't remember who at this point. You probably remember.
Hypnosis?
Maybe. But so say John Oates is able to sell his portion of the song.
BMG. They sold to BMG.
Okay, so he's able to. John Oates is able to sell his part of in the songwriting to whoever.
Primary Wave.
What if Primary Wave? Then if there's a Hall and Oates sync, Daryl doesn't have to do anything different, does he?
No.
So
No, they just have to pay him.
Yeah. So what's the fight for?
Having corporate control over it and having a separate company that you can't talk to about things. So this probably comes into play when you're doing biopics.
Yeah.
And retrospective re-releases where it's more of an artistic thing where you do want control over how it's presented.
Yeah, I guess the money doesn't matter at that point because you've already got it,
Yeah.
So,
but
fair.
it's also, I think, and I don't know, even in the public comments, this is all lawyers. Lawyering against lawyers and lawyerings. But in the public comments, it's a whole lot of just the idea that you have to deal with a third party and you don't know what's going to happen. And as we've seen with Hypnosis, they can go and take John Oates' half and go sell it off into other parts.
Yeah.
It may end up into 2 or 3 companies or half of the catalog or just what. Okay, so the doomsday scenario is John Oates goes and sells his half here.
Yeah.
He goes and sells his half, and then they go and they pick one-on-one in Maneater, and they sell those to another company because they're high performers.
Yeah.
And then they go, and then that other company goes and gets shares put against that. It gets put into a bigger catalog. That gets sold off into something else. And so it ends up being fragmented.
Yeah. Diluted.
That can end up being fragmented in multiple publishers and multiple people that you got to call and talk to.
Yeah.
And the other thing is that, when it's just a partnership and they have like sort of a company that other people have to talk to get the sync rights to, you can turn them down. Like you basically can turn them down and be like, yeah, I don't like the way that is. But if a bigger company is buying your shares, all they're doing is they have to exploit it to make the money back.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I mean, from your point of view as an artist, you got to be looking at it thinking they're going to do whatever it takes to make money off of this.
Yeah.
And that may not be your driving force where you want your catalog to be sort of more curated,
Yeah, that's
over
fair.
time.
I guess my opinion is always that's not the last great thing I'll ever do.
Yeah, but I mean, this is a body of work.
Yeah.
It was, 3 decades of someone's career.
Yeah.
And it is the best thing that either of them will ever do. Daryl Hall is not going to be putting out another one-on-one song.
That might be your
I've heard his
opinion,
shit.
but I don't think that. Like, I think that it's possible for. Again, this is just my opinion. Like, yes, Hall and Oates shit is fucking great. It's really incredible work. There's some magic in that recording. But if I'm still looking back at my 20s and 30s, going, oh, it's the best shit I've ever done, and I will never do anything that cool again, then I'm looking the wrong direction in my life, and I don't ever want to do that.
I agree. Like from a personal standpoint, if you just take it and you put it on a table and you're like, that's a great song.
Yeah.
But if you take it and you're like, okay, back in my 20s, 30s, and early 40s, I had a label behind me. I toured globally.
Yeah.
I had multiple millions record sales. So like, that is not going to happen again for Daryl Hall and John Oates.
No, but that doesn't mean that that's the last great thing that he will do.
No, but it's the last great performing thing. Does that make sense?
Totally.
Like it's not the last. Like on the table, yeah, this is a better song than Maneater. Sure, you can say that, right? But like, is it going to make your children money?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Not as much as Maneater. Like, and maybe I agree with you. Like, I would like to think that that's not the case.
Yeah.
But I mean, we can look at Paul McCartney. We can look at all of these other people that have had long-term success.
Yeah.
And their latest stuff just doesn't perform that way.
Yeah. That's
it just
fair.
doesn't.
But again, I'm not looking at this from
Except the Stones, 60 years later, got a number one album.
Number one album for Christmas. Well done. I think it's about
and it's good, by the way.
Yeah.
It's a good album.
It is a really good record. It's just a little sweaty. I enjoy the sweatiness of it.
It's fantastic, yeah.
But my point is like, as a creative person, I understand the body of work and the value that comes along with that. But my creativity and my journey does not stop and end with the thing. Like one of the things that gets me up in the morning, hey, thank you, is the fact that
this segment brought to you by Blue Chew.
Yeah. is that I am never going to run out of things to create. And I love that. And I really love, and not all of the things I am going to create have anything to do with music. And at the end of the day, I will keel over in the middle of making something, and that will bring me joy and satisfaction in my life. And there's a piece of me that's like, as much as I love all the things I've created in the past and the successes that I've had and the placements and this and the other things that have made me money, if I thought that was the only thing that I was able to do with life was, like in the first 25, 30 years of my life, that would be extremely frustrating to me.
Oh, depressing, frustrating, horrible.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But let's just put this in reality. Even in your case, some of your past catalog that we've talked about cleaning up who put it on what and where that money's going.
Yeah.
And these aren't huge hit songs.
Yeah.
These aren't things that actually could pay for your kids' college.
Yeah.
They're good. But you have gotten to the point of being so fucking frustrated by just not having control over that little thing because it's yours.
Yeah.
It's your artistic past.
Yeah.
And I think this has to do more with that than the money.
Yeah. That's fair.
The money is the money, but there's also I think Daryl Hall is just one of those people I don't want to fucking talk to hedge funds.
Yeah, that's fair.
And corporate people. I don't want to deal with that bullshit. And by the way, I don't know if this is a surprise to anyone. He and John Oates are not close.
Yeah.
They have never been close.
Yeah.
Like probably since Big Bam Boom, they have not really been a partnership. They've been business partners.
Yeah.
They've been, but they're not like best friends who write songs all the time together. That's not what they've ever been for a long time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so it's even more so. But so you can see both sides, right?
Yeah,
like
totally.
Daryl Hall, you can see one side being like, you motherfucker. We like the one thing we have shared is this strong business partnership.
Yeah.
The John Oates side is like, you motherfucker. We're not friends. Fuck do you care?
Yeah.
I thought this was about money.
Yeah.
I want mine. You have your TV show. You have all this stuff. You're not. And by the way, for them to go and do a Hall and Oates tour, which is what makes more money than either of them doing anything separately.
Yeah.
They both have to kind of be in the same room and figure it out and be okay with it.
Yeah.
And ever since T-Bone Walk died, like that hasn't really been the case.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
G.
fair.
Smith ain't coming back on the tour.
Yeah.
So there's like a lot of that kind of thing where I can see both sides of it, where John is like, hey, look, I want to secure a future for me and my kids.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be out here slugging around my guitar in these little places.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You got a TV show, you got your money going on. So I think I can see both sides of it.
Yeah,
but
I can too.
I think it really comes down to they didn't agree to it.
Ah, yeah. And they are partners.
And John just basically went, well, yeah, I don't have to.
Yeah. I had that discussion with somebody recently regarding they wanted to do a cover song of a Denver artist that we all know. And I said, you don't actually have to reach out and ask them if it's available up on, Songfile. You can go ahead and get it and license it and record it and But since you know that person, what would be good business is to talk to them and make sure it's cool
nice.
first. Yeah, but you don't have to. And
No.
like that does feel a little icky.
I mean, the word compulsorily licensed.
Yeah.
Like, compulsory.
Yeah, that's fair.
Like, that's what it is.
Yeah.
You actually don't even have to do the song file thing. You can just do accounting and pay it out to them. You have to find who the payout. And
Yeah.
just send them a check and be
Yeah.
like, what the fuck is this for?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I'm covering your song.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, exactly. Oh, well.
Yeah.
That was a fun
All
diversion.
right.
Ah!
Let's get to, I'm sorry, Hall and Oates, get your shit together.
Yeah.
We love you.
We love you. Fucking great
cool.
songwriters.
And John, if we see you around, we love you.
Be cool. Jesus is watching.
That's right.
I saw
Jesus
that.
is watching, and George Michael is in heaven going, why is it so hot up here? Okay. Sync of the week. The last sync of the week for the year.
Oh, congratulations. We made it.
We made it.
We made it. Looks like we made it. Mine is not Shania Twain.
I know. Okay, good.
You want to go?
Yeah, I can unleash my Robert Mutt Lang story.
Oh.
Yes, I'll go.
Yeah,
Mine
please.
is from Slow Horses on the Apple TV. Slough House. Do you know that Slow Horses is actually taken from the name of the property? The property in Britain is called Slough House.
I know of Slough. It's a horrible smelling town.
Yes.
We drove through there a bunch when I was a kid.
So all they could really think of is like, well, what will Americans get? Because like here it would look like slough.
Yeah, yeah.
And so Slough House is Slow Horses. Anyway, Gary Oldman. This is a horrible outfit of the MI5 of tossed away agents who are shitty at their job, but they're still MI5 agents. You know how I love that shit.
Yes, I
anyway,
do.
Gary Oldman is fantastic. Apple TV. And per usual, you don't love anyone in it. Kristen Davis, fantastic in it. Anyway,
Nice.
Slow Horses, season 3, episode 5. And God damn it, I love this sync.
Okay.
You ready?
Yeah.
Alexander the Great from Iron Maiden.
Rock and roll, baby.
Iron Maiden has never played that song live until 2023. And Bruce Dickinson said the reason why is because they used some weird technology to do like a weird time signature that they couldn't really pull off live.
Whoa, okay.
Which I kind of don't believe that. But
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
But so they did play it live. I believe it was in Germany in 2023. But they played it for the first time live. It's not one of my favorite Iron Maiden songs. It is. It's very Bruce Dickinson in his bag as a historian. Like Alexander the Great. He was a man of honor. You know, and he just like, it's a whole lot of history in lyrics and not as flowery as maybe you would hope from Iron Maiden. It's not a great song, but it's such an interesting pick because if you're an Iron Maiden fan, you know this is one of the songs they've never done live and that it would never be placed. It's not a hit song. It's not a single. They haven't played it live. It's not a fan favorite. God bless you. Catherine Greaves.
Just goes to show.
Who is the music supervisor of Slow Horses. So Catherine Greaves is the music supervisor. To pull this song out of the catalog is such a bold choice. And it's basically for a douchebag sitting in a car. It's a young kid sitting in a car like a souped-up Subaru.
Yeah.
Listening to Alexander the Great and singing along to it. But it's British and it's, you know, UK, and so it's Iron Maiden. It takes place in London. And so it's a great pull. It's a small moment in one of the episodes. Yeah. But there's a whole story behind it. This is the kind of shit music supervisors get into. This stuff, like, it has nothing to do with the song. Nerds. And yet it has everything to do with the song.
Yeah.
And like the scene has nothing to do with the song. Yeah. And yet it has everything to do with the song because it's like basically like a small little piece of someone's catalog that could be a great thing but isn't. That is basically what Slow Horses is. So anyway, I know I geek out about this shit, but anyway, it's season 3, episode 5, Slow Horses. Alexander the Great from Iron Maiden.
I love it.
Scream for me, Long Beach.
Oh, did you?
Scream for me, Long Beach.
Have you ever looked at like Bruce Dickinson's like, you know, just like his list of accomplishments? Like he's an airline pilot. He beat cancer. He's got a PhD. He's a knight or some shit. I don't know. It's fucking crazy. Like that guy is like, you're like, oh, he's just a singer in a metal band. Like, go fuck yourself.
Is that true? He has a PhD?
Yeah. I can't remember what it's in, but yeah.
By the way, he's just released another solo album called The Mandrake Project.
Speaking of...
And if you go look at that, you'll understand why Stu and I just laughed. It's his debut solo album, Tattooed Millionaire, was great. I lived in LA during that time when that came out, and I loved it. Like KNAC was playing it all the time. Ooh. But anyway, the Mandrake Project is so Bruce Dickinson.
It's so Bruce Dickinson. It's a history project, Brucey. You know.
Yeah. You just know something good's coming when someone names their solo thing after a project.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, it's my project. Are you going to do a comic book around it?
God, I hope so. I would love that. We've got some friends that have done comic books around their records.
Yes, look up the Mandrake Project. Yes, there is. There's going to be graphic novels, and there's the video is crazy.
I love it.
It's not great, but it's good.
But like again, like I love this idea that it's a multimedia thing. It's not just about the music. There's books. There's visuals,
and he's touring it.
And you know, like it's. Like, you know, Steven Wilson's new record, the Harmony Codex, is a challenging listen. You know, it's not, but I'm always curious about like what he's going to do with it live, because that's always a very telling experience, and it often changes how I listen to the record because of the live experience. So yeah, I'm excited to see what's going on with that. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and do mine now, and I would like to say that. So I just moved into a new place a few weeks ago, and while I was setting up, I like to have, you know, in a new space, I like to infuse it with sound and energy and things, and often I'll have like a comfort food show on in the background. Guess what my comfort food show was last week?
Nigella, Great British Bake Off.
No, it was Ted Lasso, and I wasn't watching. I wasn't watching it. I was emptying boxes. I was putting shit on.
Jesus Christ, I took that way too literally. I'm sorry.
Nigella Lawson.
Well, comfort food.
Oh yeah, you went great. Is cake or grandma? Or, isn't that a fucking Jim Gaffigan
Jeffrey's
joke?
working in the city all weekend, and so I'm making a fantastic roasted chicken for her.
Choked chicken. Yeah.
Shout out Barefoot Contessa.
Yeah.
Okay.
There you go. So I had it on the background, and it was it's towards the end of season 3, and I'm like, who the fuck is ripping off Queen right now?
Ooh.
I'm like, I walk in the room, and it's the end of it's the second to last, the penultimate episode of season 3, and it is we've already mentioned him today. The song is "Fought and Lost" by Sam Ryder. Right, and I'm listening to it, and I'm like, it's just fucking Who Wants to Live Forever. Like, what the fuck? And so I crack it open, and I go to the music, and I see that Fought and Lost featuring Brian May. I'm like, okay, we're fine here. We're okay. There's the Sir Brian May. We're fine here. The thing that I love about that song is the song is good, and his voice is fucking incredible on it. But the thing that did was I knew who Sam Ryder was. I just hadn't put 2 and 2 together and figured out, like all of the shit that was going on with him. I went down the rabbit hole of this guy, and I am fucking obsessed. I'm obsessed because his okay. So we got a whole fucking pile of Britpop, and you know how much I love that shit. And,
Absolutely.
But his fucking voice is astonishing. It is so beautiful. It's very Freddie Mercury, which is top of my list. But then I go down the rabbit hole and I see that he was on a label. I can't remember what label, but now he's independent. He no longer has a label. So he hit number 2 in the UK as an indie. Now, granted, he has some very powerful friends. He's got videos with Alicia Keys and he knows fucking Brian May. I want to know Brian May. So the thing I loved about this placement was the song is great. The placement's great. It's really emotional scene. It wasn't about that for me. It was the fact that it took me to this place where I could go and discover an artist that I really enjoy. And vocal gymnastics aside, the songs are fun and cool as fuck.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
we know who did that.
We do?
Who did that placement? Yeah.
Yes, we do.
And by the way, just so I get it out of the way right now, fuck you, Warner Brothers, for doing that shit this year. Fuck you for what you've been doing, Zaslav. Anyway, fix it, Warner.
Yeah.
Fix it. There's some good people you're screwing over. Fix it. Especially in the music department.
Yeah. It does say Krista Miller was the
That's
soup
where
on
that fucking picture was from. In the post that we were talking about.
Really?
Yes.
Huh. Oh.
Yeah.
Wow. Anyway.
We can't really talk about it, but yeah. But yeah.
Asides. Yeah.
I don't know if he listens, but anyway.
Oh, okay.
But yeah. Yes. That's where fix it, Warner.
Fix it. Yeah.
Killing me.
So
good people. Anyway, Sam Ryder, Fought and Lost, featuring Brian May.
Yeah. Fucking
of Queen fame.
Was he in Queen?
Astrophysicist.
Dr. Brian May. Still.
Dr. Brian May, you bitch.
Still one of the finest fucking musicians I have ever heard in my entire life, that guy. Just everything is.
Did you see his thing with Tony Iommi?
Oh, yeah. His interview with him was about Paranoid, right?
Well, yeah.
It was about Gibson thing. Gibson thing, yeah. But fuck yeah. Those two have been... can I come hang out on your couch, guys? Shit.
I think it's just so hilarious that all the people we grew up thinking like, oh, wow, yeah, they're our parents or whatever, stop listening to that druggy heavy metal music. And you're like, yeah, I'm pretty sure these people are drinking tea and reading books. And they were.
Yeah, exactly.
Some of them.
By the way, it's funny to me to watch it's the same thing. You look at all of the British legends of rock and roll guitar. They are slowly evolving into the same old man. If you look at them, they're
all becoming an amalgam.
Yeah, of fucking Ed Asner's character in Up. Just they're all starting to kind of look. The nose starts expanding, the chin does its thing, the bottom jaw creeps forward. Go. Let the Anyway, I just love it.
Oh my god.
Carry on. I saw a picture of John Deacon recently, and he is slowly evolving. It's like an omega point for old British dudes, you know. They're just like all of a sudden just going to be intelligence with, you know, broad noses and jutting jawlines.
That's the thing, though. They have good health care. At least they're getting old.
I don't know if it's good, but it is free.
Yeah, well, it's some.
The National Health Service. Brought to you by Blue Chew.
Well, I wish you a fantastic 2024, and thanks for hanging with us in 2023. We're going to wrap this sucker up. Make sure to check out StuMillerMusic.com. You can check out us anywhere you follow people at 2ShotsMusicPod, and you can email us 2ShotsMusicPod@gmail.com. And we're going to be with you next year. We're going to just keep doing this.
We're going to keep coming at you with other garbage.
We make $1 million doing this, but we do it out of love.
An episode. We are the Big Bang Theory cast.
Totally.
Shit.
Fuck you. Joe Rogan doesn't even know.
Yeah.
We just don't release it. That's all it is.
That's all that is. Happy New Year, you sexy
Happy
monkeys.
New Year to you, you sexy bitch.
Yeah. I love you all, and thank you for listening, and look forward to more. By the way, if you take all 39 episodes, they're all, you know, including, you know, like quick shots, that kind of stuff. I think we're over 40. You know, like there is actually some usable information in these.
There really
podcasts.
is. Yeah. Spend the next few weeks
just
digging into all of those great answers that we give you.
If somebody could put together a digital workbook to, you know, companion piece, we're not doing it.
That ain't this podcast.
No.
And we're probably going to go into season 2 probably somewhere in next February. So there's going to be some changes, but it won't be right away. But just so you know, it's going to happen. Changes.
I went.
All right,
Ozzy.
motherfuckers. We love you. Write a great song. Be good to others. Be good to yourself. And we'll see you next year.
Love you. Happy New Year, y'all.
Love you. Goodbye. Bye.